Ed's show. I think Ed's pretty cool.
Oh, nice, cool. I got the numbers mixed up. I got yours and Ed's mismatched in my phone.
I'm going, how did I end up on his call with somebody else?
Right on. How you doing, Hart?
Doing pretty good, Dad. Doing pretty fucking good, dude. So we don't have to worry about cursing or anything on your thing.
No, absolutely not. I'm a big fan of expletives. In fact, if you can, if you're watching this on the interweb, you can look up over my right shoulder. I titled the name of my organization FTP Portland, and it's a dual acronym. It's either Film the Police Portland or Fuck the Police Portland, depending on how naughty or nice they are.
Right.
Yeah, and so far I'm having to say, I think Krampus should go over and visit every cop's house at this point. That's how I'm feeling about it. If you're familiar with the old
Well, I know
Germanic
who
myth.
Krampus is, and the thing that I refuse to do, Mike, is I refuse to let the leadership off the fucking hook. Everybody wants to act like it's only the cop. Well, guess what? They're following fucking orders.
Oh, of
So
course.
let's save this for the air. Let's save this for the air.
Sure,
Let's
man.
get into it. You're good to go. I'm going to go start recording right now. And let me look you up, Mike BlueHair. Now recording Heart Attack in 3, 2, 1. Hi, I am Hart D. Fisher. We are now in the middle of a heart attack episode with Mike BlueHair from Watch the Police Portland, and also Mike had gone down to Ferguson. And we all know that shit is popping off like crazy in Ferguson over this issue of Mike Brown and the police officer not being indicted, the man who shot down this unarmed individual in front of a crowd of people, and they left the body sitting on the street for hours so the whole neighborhood could see. And this was an unarmed man who had his hands up in the air, and the pathologist, the forensic pathologist, said flat out that this guy was gunned down face to face, not in the back. He was gunned down by this cop, shot in the hands, in the arm, in the chest, and in the head as he's falling forward. This isn't a thing made up by some left-wing pinko commie asshole. This is a professional forensic pathologist who has analyzed the scene and analyzed the body. This is a gentleman used by the police for trials and for testifying. He's flat out said, hey, this isn't about race, guys. It's about a human being who was gunned down by an officer. And we just found out today, as we record this on Friday, we have found out that a pregnant woman who was there during the protests, and before all you trolling assholes go, what's a pregnant woman doing there? And you want to blame a victim who got victimized by somebody, fuck you. This pregnant woman was in her car at a gas station, and she's blind in one eye from a fucking rubber bullet. And I'm kind of angry about this because people want to act like less than lethal rounds are safe. They're not safe. They can still damage you, kill you. Beanbag rounds can still kill you. And don't get me started on fucking flashbangs, because I really get angry over flashbangs. A flashbang is a grenade, guys. That's a grenade, an explosive device. It is an incendiary explosive device that is designed to cause a giant flash, which will blind you, and a tremendous bang, which will deafen you. If you are blinded and you are deaf, how are you going to listen to the instructions of a police officer breaking up a crowd? A flashbang is not designed to calm a crowd. A flashbang being thrown into a crowd is designed to panic them and to hurt them. That is the definition of what you use a fucking flashbang for, is to stun and incapacitate the victim of the flashbang. Mike, you know what I'm talking about, these flashbangs, right?
Yeah, man. The whole protest scene, riot
welcome
scene.
to the show, by the way. I know I got onto a big rant.
No,
but
no, no.
welcome to the show. Welcome back, Mike.
I love it. I mean, give me some anger. You know, I want some buckets of it. You know, I'm like a pig in shit with this kind of content. By the way, it's Film the Police Portland, but yeah, it is not my. That's the name of my organization. It is not my first rodeo with the whole protest scene. I have had flashbangs thrown beside me. I've been shot at, hit with rubber bullets before. Less lethal, literally.
You've been hit with a rubber bullet, Mike?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I was wearing
Where'd
armor.
it get you? Like in the arm or
It got me in the upper body. It got me in the chest, but I was wearing a thick rubber kind of armor vest, so it really
What
didn't.
was that like for you to get
Since I had armor on, it still bruised me underneath, but it's very disconcerting to say the least. It was during Occupy Oakland in 2012. Uh, Early 2012, they were trying to turn a abandoned building into a community center. It was called the Battle of Oak Street. If you type the Occupy Oakland, the Battle of Oak Street in the YouTube, you can see me running around with an orange helmet on that's got big black letters on the side of it that says media or whatnot. But yeah, the thing about less lethal, what that literally means is that there's a, depending on which type of weapon they're using, there's a small percentage, it's in the teens, like 12%, or 8, some of them are as 8%, like it might kill you, under certain circumstances, so
Yeah,
they're risking
it's
your
not like
life.
there's not the possibility of dying. You still have the possibility
Right.
to die from these rounds.
Right.
It just means they're a little less. They're just not quite as deadly
Yeah,
as
they're less
bullets.
lethal. Yeah, meaning there's a certain percentage of people that if they were hit just right with them, they would die. You know, um, yeah. If a rubber bullet hits you in the head, it can kill you. I mean, think about this woman that lost her eye. You know.
It can definitely kill you. A rubber round to
Hmm.
the throat, a rubber
Sure.
round to the solar plexus, a rubber round to the back of the skull.
Or the
All of
eye.
these things can kill you, or the eyes. You could lose an eye.
That
And
could have
now we
went
have a
through the gate
pregnant
of her
woman.
eye and caused swelling on her brain and killed her. It could have
Yeah.
very well
We,
did that.
so now this pregnant mother doesn't have an eyeball
Right.
because of indiscriminate firing into a crowd
Hmm.
by violence-prone police officers. It seems to me like they're geared up to have violence.
Well, you can always tell who's ready for a fight when you look and see who's dressed for a riot. When you see these guys that look like psychotronic Ninja Turtles out of a movie, or like uh, uh, ring race with assault semi-automatic rifles running around on their MRAP mine-resistant vehicles, uh, leveling long weapons at everyone's chest in a crowd, and this is in midday before the quote unquote bad stuff starts happening at night. You know the psychology of the people involved. I mean, the thing is that when cops put on the riot gear, it just makes you feel menacing. It makes you feel powerful. I mean, think about it. I mean, the plastic shield over the face gives them a sense of anonymity. All of a sudden they
There
are
is
the machine.
there's something very, very psychological about wearing a mask. As a horror filmmaker who has made horror films, you dress up on Halloween. When you put on the Jason Voorhees style hockey mask thing and you cover yourself up and you put on that costume, you also put on a frame of mind. And I believe that when you gear up for violence, and those officers are afraid. They're all in their riot gear, and one must remember they're human beings. These are also human beings that can be injured, that know fear,
Hmm.
that are afraid, that have their bosses telling them things that they might not feel like they want to do. A lot of officers they didn't sign up for this. They didn't sign up to get a baton and beat up innocent Americans. That was not why they became a police
Right.
officer. And I think this comes down to the leadership of the police office. This comes down to our elected leaders and
Sure.
the leadership that we put in place to manage the police force.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to blame the boots on the ground, but I'm going to blame the leadership behind this.
Well, of course, I blame both. Actually, I think every human being is responsible for their own actions ultimately. And me being an anarchist, I believe that if people could take personal responsibility for their own lives and their own actions, we would need government less. But I mean, that's a side point. But I blame both parties. I blame the uh, the county sheriffs in these counties where all this stuff is happening, because this is worldwide now. I mean, there's people in the United Kingdom, there's people in Australia protesting this stuff because police are getting out of hand in every country. But yeah,
It's
I
all
blame
over
the county
Los
sheriffs.
Angeles.
I blame.
We did a Mike. I hate to interrupt you, but we got protests here in Los Angeles where they're shutting down the freeways,
Sure.
and people are coming out, and a lot of folks are very, very upset, and they want to make this all about racism. But folks, this is a human issue. This is
Sure.
about American citizens being gunned down without weapons, indiscriminately, babies in cribs with flashbangs being thrown in there over drug. It all is connected, in my opinion. and the idea of militarizing our police force, you can really see it there. When you're there, did you ever interact with any officers when you were in Ferguson that had expressed any misgivings, Mike? When you're there as a human being, did you ever hear anything like that from the officers?
Camera off, I did have a few conversations with guys, and I said, "Wouldn't you rather be doing something else?" And a couple times I had officers look me right in the face, right in the eyes, and says, "Yes, I would rather be doing anything other than this." But when the camera's on, but when it comes down to shit or get off the pot, when the orders come down, they get right on the systematic
They
tyranny.
march.
You mentioned
They
L.A.
march.
I wanna give a shout out, and if somebody can give some support to a friend of mine, I got a friend online. He's a good buddy of mine online. His name's Tom Zebra. He basically does what I do. He has a cop watching organization. Um, he basically keeps tabs on El Segundo police, and he does work out in LA as well. He was filming some people out there in Hollywood, and I believe it was Hollywood. It was definitely somewhere around LA, but I don't remember the town. But I just saw the little video. He was filming the crowd from the sidewalk on his bicycle. I saw the video. The police rushed him from behind. He was straddling his bicycle with both legs. Rushed him from behind, shoved his head into a wall. Tom goes down in like this semi-fetal ball thing on the ground, and they start kicking him in the head. You know, he's out of jail now, but he went to the hospital to document his injuries. But yeah, these cops
And this guy was a police officer?
no, this guy was he's a cop watcher. He runs a YouTube
Oh,
channel
okay.
called Tom Zebra. He's been getting in the news a lot for flying a drone over LA and whatnot and filming the police with it.
Ah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
he's
Well,
that
hey,
guy.
we talked last week how officers are killing pit bulls they're killing family dogs. They're killing dogs all over the
Oh,
country
of course.
indiscriminately. They're just shooting them down, gunning them down. It's happening. I was reading about the numbers of how many of these animals have been gunned down in Pasadena and across Los Angeles. And it's this disdain for human life and disdain for the civilian's property. And it's really kind of a whole big picture, like you were saying. And one of the things I noticed is like you have a guy that you work with who got maced while the police grabbed him. One of your gentlemen,
Yeah,
I
he's
saw
one of
the
my
video
volunteers.
online.
He's one of my good friends. He's a 19-year-old 6 foot 200
Black man.
pound black kid. Yeah,
Mention that because
yeah.
what
Let
happened?
me
Why don't you tell my audience what happened,
I
Mike?
appreciate the
With your friend?
opportunity to get Demi's story out there. One of our volunteers, Demetrius Cooper, lives out by Beaverton, which is a suburb of Portland. And he decided to, against my better judgment, and I asked him numerous times, please don't do this because I think it's dangerous. Um, Beaverton has a mostly white police force. There's just not a lot of black people that live in the Portland area or any of the suburbs. So he goes on 3 different days and he walks in the public parking lot around the Beaverton police station and takes pictures. He did a video called "Giving Beaverton Cops the silent treatment." So the first time he goes out and he just films them in a public parking lot. There's signs that say public parking lot, and he doesn't interact with them. Because you don't have to talk to cops unless they're investigating you, and unless you're being detained under investigatory detention. You don't have to speak to law enforcement. It's a myth, that people are obligated to speak to them. So he didn't speak with them. He came back a second day, and they tried to give him a no trespassing notice. Because I guess
On a public parking lot?
in a public parking lot, he said, "I don't want to take that from you. I'm not going to take anything from you. If I'm not being detained, I'm going on my way." The third day he does it, because he did this over a period of a couple weeks. The third night he goes out to do it, um, he calls me, right before all the shit hits the fan. Demi calls me on the phone and he's like, "Mike, the cops are circling around me. I'm feeling a bit nervous. What should I do?" I'm all, "Demi, I have fear for your safety. I would appreciate it if you would put the phone down now, turn your camera on, and walk in the direction to where you're sure you're away from the property of the police station." Well, Demi's like any other teenager, he's going to do whatever the hell it is he wants to do at any given time. So after Demi got out of jail, because the police jumped him right after I warned him to get the hell out of there. Um, he tells me that he opened up his laptop and started Googling something. Well, he gets engrossed in his computer, looks up, and there's a cop car about 15 feet in front of him with the car pointed directly at him, and an officer jumps out and immediately grabs him by the arm and says, "You're under arrest." And Demi's all, he explains like, "What am I under arrest for?" And he's all, "Stand up." And Demi's got a $2,000 MacBook Pro, like, it's an editing suite for videos in his lap, and he doesn't want to get up. So they say he was resisting arrest, um, uh, because he didn't want to, stand up and dump $2,000 worth of equipment on the concrete. So basically, a struggle ensues. Um, he gets pepper sprayed, tasered, hobbled. They put a nylon strap around his ankles and stick him in the car and hold him in jail for 18 days. See, after I talked to Demi, no, they charge him with, get this, trespassing and resisting arrest, because they said that he
trespassing in a public parking lot.
Right, trespassing for non-crime, yes, trespassing and